Hello and welcome back. Now, I haven't scripted this, so I hope I can let it flow the way I have it in my mind. Today I want to talk about a very delicate subject. I want to talk about when a loved one dies and how it impacts us and really what happens to the loved one, the death process, and also how we can navigate through the feelings and emotions that this brings up in us in the smoothest way possible, and how we can understand it all, hopefully give you the big picture, and you'll be able to deal with it and process it. Okay, let's start with the individual. Now, assuming that when they pass, there'll either be a sudden death where they really know nothing about it. 1 minute they're in body, the next minute there's a car accident or something and they are gone, and in a way that seems like a blessing, but I'm sure that spirit can be quite confused and traumatized, and there can be a slight issue about getting from where their mind is on earth and to the the spiritual realms where the loved ones are waiting. They can be a bit blindsided by it all, and not know they're dead. This can happen, but they do be reassured that there are guides and loved ones who are working from the other side, from the the moment of passing or even around the passing, to offer them a way through that confusion and to guide them to really what we would term a hospital on the spirit side, where they can rest and adjust and come to acclimatise to the fact that they're no longer in body. So that's quite a traumatic way for a spirit to pass over, but they're not just left in shock or trauma. What we term here, they don't become ghosts, they don't haunt places. That's just like an energetic echo of something that's happened. You can leave a little bit of your energy in places where you've lived a long time, or where traumatic things have happened, or even homes which have been very, very loved, can carry a little bit of the essence of the souls that occupied those homes, and it can feel like that spirit is still lingering there, but it's not. Most ghosts are just echoes. They're just little energetic echoes, going through the motions of things that happened when the actual souls lived and occupied that space, or were there at the time of their death or something like that. When a person passes over suddenly, they don't become a ghost. They get collected by people they will recognise from the spirit planes, and they get taken to a spirit hospital, and they are given as much time as they need to adjust and recover, and then they are sort of taught and shown and helped to remember the process that has occurred. And it's really very, very gentle and patient and joyful for the soul on the other side. They don't experience pain, they don't go to hell. Hell doesn't exist. That's a religious invention. Hell is really just what a soul might feel, the sort of regret and sadness they would feel if they get to the other side, and when they get eventually to their own life review and they see that they have fallen short of things they wanted to achieve, or they have taken wrong paths in life and caused harm to others and created negative karma. That is the dimensions of hell. It's just within our own selves and our own souls that create the hell. So please don't worry that your loved one, if they were if they'd done anything wrong, or you felt that they in any way could have been taken to some sort of place where justice is meted out, in the spiritual realms. That doesn't happen. All that happens is that we review our own lives in the company of very wise spirits, and we decide our own fate, how we're going to resolve that, if we're going to help correct it from the spirit realms, or if we're going to return to earth and correct it in an earthly fashion. Okay, if a person has a long illness, they get plenty of warning. They will be dipping in and out of the spirit realms for a long period of time before they actually pass over. You'll see that in elderly people, and they're sleeping all the time, or they're a little bit fuddled and confused, or they don't seem quite themselves. It's because they've got one toe in the spirit realm, and one toe down here on earth. And a lot of times you'll hear about people who have quite painful illnesses, and they seem to come in and out of body. They seem to not really be there a lot of the time. Obviously they can be on pain medication and such, but I believe that we're not here to suffer, and so they allow us to basically step out of our bodies if the physical body is experiencing extreme pain, as in some illnesses are, it's like torture. And so what happens is the soul will not be it won't be in the physical body, it will be very close to it and attached to it, and it will be doing stuff in the spiritual realms in preparation for its crossing over. Really, sometimes they linger for the extended members of the family. You'll find frequently a parent or a grandparent will wait to cross until everyone's been in to see them, and then when they go for a cup of tea, the soul will leave. And they have a voice in when they go and how they go. It's all kind of worked out and planned, and it's a very nice way to pass. They have their hand held throughout the whole process. They are not, if you feel that the excuse me, if you feel that the physical body has had trauma and is suffering and is in pain, then I want you to know that the actual soul really isn't in it much. They will become conscious, they will step into that body, and when they're in that body, they will feel that pain. But they do so in order to, pass on their last words and to just give you these last moments with them. And then, when they fall asleep again, or when you have to go, visiting hours are over or whatever, then they just kind of lift out their body. They're not racked in pain, for weeks and months till they die. They're mostly gone already. They're just slipping in and out as things get completed, little bits of karma get tied up, and it's all very orderly. It's not a sort of random thing that when they die that they're sort of 1 minute in body and the next minute out. Actually, by the time a soul passes in such a fashion, when they've been ill for a long time, by the time they pass, they're well acclimatized to the spirit world. They just let go and they're gone. I have heard experiences of individuals who've had these near-death experiences, and they describe it as so beautiful. And I know of someone in my extended family who did die and could have remained dead, but made the choice to come back. At that crucial moment, they kind of had the choice: you can go or you can stay. And they chose to stay, but the going was like floating on a cloud. It felt wonderful, and was very, very tempting to leave at that time, but it was an obligation to the living, in their family who needed them, that really anchored them back into their body, and they chose to go through you know, a great deal of pain and recovery to remain here. So you can find books on near-death experiences everywhere. I believe that death is a beautiful experience. It's as easy as taking off your shoes. It's just, you just float into the light, and the light feels welcoming and familiar and loving, and it's a wonderful experience to die. I'm looking forward to the day that, you know, I feel I've fulfilled my life and that all my children are looked after and safe, you know, and I feel that I've completed my tasks. I am looking forward to some beautiful rest in the spirit planes, and to just shucking off this old body and floating off up into the spiritual planes for a well-earned rest up there. I think it's going to be wonderful. And being down here on earth is very, very hard in lots of ways for individuals. But the flip side of death. So I'm hoping I've put your mind at rest a little bit about how it feels for the individual who dies. They can have a sudden death, like my family member that had a surgical thing, and they were gone, and they were often floating, and they were aware of others, and they were aware of the choice. You know, they were aware of the people around the bedside begging them not to die and such, and they reluctantly came back, you know, as a duty, more as a duty than anything else. But they could have very happily just gone it without a second thought to the living, because from a spiritual perspective, you know, friends and family here on earth, they just exist for this lifetime. You know, there may be souls that need one another and work closely with one another, but, you know, in the spirit planes there are many, many others, you know, that have very strong links with the souls, and you're welcomed back there by thousands, you know, beautiful souls that are in your soul group, and it is a wonderful experience. So I really hope you don't worry about loved ones when they pass over and think, are they okay? You know, are they afraid? No, they're fine. They are collected by family members. They are taken to a place of recuperation. They are given healing and love and rest, and then they are shown, you know, things that help them remember stuff, and they eventually ultimately will get their life review. This all happens, you know, like that in earth time, because time doesn't exist beyond earth. So in the spiritual planes, things that can seem to take a long time in the human concept have no bearing on the time down here. So you will find that loved ones are pretty much always at their own funerals. They're there walking among everybody, enjoying the party and trying to support, you know, those that seem to be distressed, and they also, you know, they can go and intervene in certain situations. So, you know, if you're in need of comfort and help from the spirit world, you frequently will get a close relative will come that you have a special bond with, and they will try and assist you from the spirit planes. Speaking of which, I'm sure that's my dad. They come so easily, and they surround us with these loving energies. And I have another video on how to communicate with loved ones who've passed over, in the many different ways, simple ways you can do that. So do look at that if you're wanting to get better communication with your loved ones on the other side. They can be down here, they can still be quite active. Many people can see them. I see my loved ones in my mind's eye, but I can hear them in my ears. It's as well, I can hear them in my head. but it's their own voice, it's the sound of them, it's their words, it's their speech patterns. I can hear them, and when I go to the astral plane, I can hug them and talk to them, you know, and laugh with them, and I don't feel like I miss them in the same way that many people from a 3D consciousness will be thinking, that's it, they're gone. They're not gone, they're right there the minute you think of them. So for the living, for those left behind, you have to change how you're approaching this, how you're viewing it, because you're causing unnecessary suffering to yourself and to your loved one and to your extended family. The living are here because they've got work left to do. There's stuff that you're supposed to be doing, and yes, it's 100% natural to grieve, and you absolutely must grieve because it is a change, you know. You have lost that physical aspect of the person that you love deeply, and your life is never quite the same, and it is altered in sometimes very material ways. Sometimes you can go through grief and the person hasn't died, they've just moved on, you know, your roads have parted, and you know, you still can grieve those relationships where those people that you love aren't in your life. It's very similar. In fact, it's easier when they're dead because they are still in your life, they just don't have a physical form, but all the same rapport that you had with that individual is still there. As long as you can get yourself to high enough vibration that you can connect with them. Grief is a very low vibration. It shuts down a lot of the chakras. It attracts to you quite negative conditions in your life because it's such a low vibration. So grief, you know, in its purest sense, isn't great, and you want to try and, you know, dip in and out of it, experience it, let it wash over you, release feelings, but not live there. You have to be alive and live your life, and that's what your loved one wants you to do. They want you to be joyful. A lot of people feel that if they've lost, you know, like a child or a partner or even a parent, they feel they can never be happy again, and that's a dreadful waste of your remaining years. You know, that soul doesn't want you to do that. That's only been half alive yourself. They are fully alive. They're more alive than you are, in the spirit planes, helping and loving, continuing to love you and support you, and they want you to achieve all the things that you both set out to do together. So you must examine how you're looking at the situation. You're allowed to miss them, you're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to be upset, angry, all these different stages of grieving, but you can't, you know, spend the rest of your life locked in grief for someone who's just a breath away. You know, they're just there. You must understand this. In fact, channel these feelings and emotions you have, and talk to them as if they were still there, and they will hear you, and live for them. You know, be happy for them. That's what they want, and that's how you will heal. If you can take, you know, you see a lot of people and their child has a cancer and dies or something, and then they turn that pain and sadness and loss, and they turn it into a charity, helping other families whose children have that cancer, and they, you know, pour money into research and things, and they help other children to survive it. You know, so if you can take your grief and you can channel it in some way into something, you know, more productive and positive, then that's the best response to loss. But of course, you need to take some time to absorb loss and to process your emotions and to release them. Don't push them down and pretend it's not okay to feel these things. But if you can see, a lot of your worries can be taken away if you can understand that the soul that has gone is blissfully happy and, is free of all the pain of the earth. Earth is not always the most wonderful place to be. You have a lot of sickness and poverty and sadness and cruelty and worries and anxieties. But the spirit world isn't like that. The spirit world has transcended all of these things, and that spirit is beyond, all the problems that are here on the earth. And all they would choose for you is to help you navigate them all and reach the goals you set out to achieve, as you came down in this lifetime. So it's difficult. I can't give you proof. I have been there. I have talked to loved ones. I have talked to people who have had near-death experiences. I have talked to loved ones of people I don't know and passed on. They've said that's so-and-so, and that's exactly what they would have said, or that's exactly how they looked. I don't know these people. Is that proof for you? You'd have to be, you can't be a doubting Thomas. You have to take things on faith a little bit, and if you want proof, then you have to go and get it yourself. You have to drag yourself out of the mire of grief, and you have to pursue, in a positive way, communication with the loved one that you're grieving for, so that you can get the reassurance you need from them. I would advise against going to a lot of mediums and stuff, continually searching for contact with a loved one. I would really advise you to go within, just, to practice certain calming situations where you can just talk in your mind, or visualize the person there, and, or go to places in your mind that you went to together, and they will join you, and that's far more healing for you, because you'll actually have the, intimate contact with that vibrational energy that is that soul. They will come and be with you, and your energetic body will recognize this, and your feeling of grief at missing that energy of the other person and their help and advice and support will go, because they are there. But you can't get that if you remain locked in a punishing, grief, where you don't allow yourself to feel joy and happiness for the time you spent together, for all the wonderful things that you experienced, while they were alive. So I may do more on this, but I am aware that a lot of people, especially around the holiday time, are really struggling to move on with their lives and cope with everyday things, because they're missing those that have gone before, those that have completed their tasks. They wouldn't have gone if they hadn't done what they set out to do. So you should be cheering them and saying, well done, you got there a bit ahead of me, and don't be in any rush to join them. Don't hurry up that process or anything. Make a pact with yourself, that in spiritual terms it's just the blink of an eye between, even if it's 30 years, that you have to wait till you can be with them again, is the blink of an eye in the spirit world. And just make damn sure that you take the time you have left and you live it to the fullest, and you make a difference to as many people as possible, and you experience all the joy and wonder and beauty that is available to you on this earth, because that's what you wanted to do. That's the road you're on, and yes, someone you loved has gone on before you were ready for them to go, but they are still with you. They are very, very close to you, and they want you to continue living your life and continue pursuing your own goals and dreams, and they'll be there on the sidelines cheering you on. And as your energy rises, we're constantly increasing our vibration, and there will come a point where that veil between the living and the dead thins, and it becomes more and more common for us to understand, as in many, say, Native American cultures or whatever, they know that the ancestors and the loved ones are working with them. And that's true. There's truth in these old legends. And I want you to change the way you think about death and dying and grieving, and know that you can still be in full contact with your loved ones, almost as much as you were when they were on earth. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that, and I really hope it's helped you, to think about these situations and to let go of a lot of the pain some of us are carrying. You can release that pain because it's a waste. It's just weighing you down and stopping you from seeing, there might be other relationships, other children, other tasks that you could really enjoy and embrace, and you're supposed to, things you're supposed to achieve. So you can't be blinkered and just have it all damped down just because you miss a single soul, or over some tragic incident. You need to let it go, and you need to live your life fully. And I hope in the future I'll be able to bring through messages. It's one of my intentions to maybe set up, a random draw each month where I will do a clairvoyant reading for, one of my subscribers or something like that, and that would be made available for everyone to see, and to start seeing the proof that's out there, because the spirits are all around us, and they're just a thought away. Okay, they're not gone. You don't have to be so sad. They're plainly there. Okay, and I'll speak to you again about these plans soon. Okay, God bless. Take care.